Hi, my name is Joseph Parker, WBO champion of the world, and you're watching Sporting Icons.
So last weekend, in an epic event of Dillian Whyte versus Joseph Parker and the entire undercard, as me and a lot of you guys were saying that this is legitimately pay-per-view worthy even before we seen the fights, because we knew how the fights were going to go. Not necessarily the result, but we knew that a lot of these fights were going to be very, very competitive and worth the pay-per-view. A lot of people who said it wasn't going to be pay-per-view, a lot of them are now saying, you know what, it was pay-per-view and I'm glad that I paid and I watched it. There's still some people who are still trying to stick by their guns. Oh well, I don't know what more you want from a pay-per-view. But either way, let's talk about the main event. Dillian Whyte versus Joseph Parker. Dillian Whyte knocks down Joseph Parker officially twice in the fight, but really I suppose you could say round number 9 was the legitimate one. Round number 2, of course, we only know that it was a clash of heads on the replay. Seeing it live, nobody thought it was a clash of heads. People thought that Dillian Whyte legitimately knocked him down, but no matter what, he made sure of it in round number 9, and ultimately Joseph Parker dropped Dillian Whyte in the final round, and who knows, could have been seconds away from victory. Don't know. Glad we didn't get to find out. But so Dillian Whyte wins. Joseph Parker has 2 losses on the bounce now. Once against Anthony Joshua in the last fight, and of course this one against Dillian Whyte, both of them on UK soil. On his 3rd fight in a row on UK soil, Hughie Fury, where he successfully defended his WBO world title and took Hughie Fury 0. Then a unification against Joshua, which he didn't need to take, but he went the 12 rounds with him, and of course in a very exciting fight and 12 rounder against Dillian Whyte. So Joseph Parker is very well respected over here in the UK. So what does Joseph Parker do next? If he was to come back to the UK, which hopefully he would, I'd like to see him in there with some of our Brits. I like Joseph Parker. I rate him very highly. A lot of you guys know that, and a lot of you guys know that as well, that you like Joseph Parker. But obviously at the time we're all picking our Brit to beat him. Okay, that's just how it is. But ultimately, we all like Joseph Parker, and we all know he's a warrior. And he just needs to get that bit of aggression, that bit of dirtiness in him in the ring, rather than trying to touch gloves and trying to be the nice guy. This is a fight, man. So go in there and rough up your opponent. You can be nice outside the ring all you like, but inside the ring, get some dog in you. Straight up. So if he's going to come back to the UK, I'd like him to take on Derek Chisora. That's just my pick. I would love that to happen. Maybe another couple of our Brits floating around, maybe come over, try and get a couple of wins, maybe take on, say, a Sam Sexton, for example. Who knows? Okay, just somebody where he should really get a win, but also earn a bit of money out of it as well. I know he's already earned a lot of money, but a lot of people in the UK have a newfound respect for Joseph Parker for the fact that he went on the road and fought 3 times in a row in UK, and we'd like to see him again. And for me, I would, in an ideal world, if he was to fight in the UK against Derek Chisora, in a fight that I believe Joseph Parker could well win that one. So not only does it help him with the rankings again, it puts a bit more money in his pocket, and of course he will gain, even though in my eyes he hasn't lost any credibility, but I know he probably feels like he has. But by beating Derek Chisora, that gets him back on the right path. So anyway, that's just my thoughts on a UK fight. In America, I believe he is promoted by Bob Arum, Top Rank, when he hits US soil or even North America, or so if he go to Canada, again, he'll still be part of Top Rank. So who's really on there that Joseph Parker could fight? Maybe Bryant Jennings. Of course, there was talk about him fighting Jennings anyway before he decided to go for Dillian Whyte. So maybe this one could still be on the cards. Make his fighting debut in America on a Top Rank show against Bryant Jennings. Again, I would pick Joseph Parker to beat him, and beat him quite comfortably. Well, I say comfortably, if Joseph Parker can get that aggression, take some of that Dillian Whyte aggression and take it out on Bryant Jennings or any opponent, he's going to go a long way. I still consider Joseph Parker a top 5 heavyweight. I really do. So Bryant Jennings will be a good option. Also, there's some other options stateside as well. Look at Jaron Miller. Of course, he's now part of the Matchroom USA Boxing and DAZN. Eddie Hearn likes Joseph Parker. This is an ideal matchup. But would Jaron Miller want to take it? Again, Joseph Parker, because he had 2 losses on a row, people can see that he's dangerous. People can see he just needs to tune a couple of bits, get a bit of aggression, and he becomes high risk, low reward. As in, ain't going to get paid too much money for it, and I could get my ass handed to me. So would Jarrell Miller be interested? Don't know. We know Miller's trying to get into the Manuel Charles situation to become WBA regular champion. But I would like to see him take on Jarrell Miller. If not, maybe Adam Kownacki, who is undefeated, 17-0, Polish-American heavyweight as well, best friends with Jarrell Miller. So again, there's another option. Another option that I would love to see. Joseph Parker versus Luis Ortiz. I think that would be a fantastic fight. And again, I would pick Joseph Parker. Again, and I'm going to keep on saying it until I see Joseph Parker do it, which is get aggressive, get nasty in that ring, and use his youth, get on his toes, and he will outdo Luis Ortiz. And he will beat Luis Ortiz as well. That's just my opinion. But ultimately, we don't know. Maybe Luis Ortiz will catch Parker and knock him clean out. Who knows what would really happen? That's what makes it very interesting. And if there was an option for pay-per-view, if they put it on pay-per-view over there in the States or wherever it may be, I'm telling you, I would pay for that. I think that would be a great, great fight. So other options, maybe against that Japanese guy. I forgot his name, like Fujimoto or something. I really can't remember. I've never seen the guy fight, but apparently he's pretty big and pretty tough, and he comes with a lot of value. So again, maybe Parker wants to look at some money, even though he's already made a crap load of money against Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua. So maybe he can go to Japan and fight him, or bring him over to New Zealand. Maybe he wants to have a couple of fights in New Zealand, a couple of tune-up fights, maybe against an Ustinov, who again, there was a lot of talks about him fighting him. Why not do something to get a victory back? And all these guys that I've mentioned, Parker could legitimately beat all of them. So for me, I don't want to see him fight a Frezequendo kind of level. I know Frezequendo has got to fight Manuel Charles for the WBA regular title. Let's not get into it. But that's not the kind of fight I want to see him in there with. Okay, I don't want to see him in there with like these real lower tier kind of fighters. I want to see him in there with middle of the road kind of guys. I'm not asking for an elite, but if he does want an elite, why not? Some of the guys I've already mentioned, like a Luis Ortiz or a... hey, what about Dominic Brazil? That would be an interesting one. Why not? But if he is going to fight in New Zealand, then I think an Ustinov or that Japanese guy would be a good call. Or a couple of guys like that. Maybe a Lucas Brown. So anyway, you drop your thoughts. Who do you want Joseph Parker to be fighting next? Where do you see his future? If he was to get that aggression about him, for me, he'd go a lot further. And if he can just get that, he's a legitimate top 5 heavyweight. And I would pick him to beat pretty much all of them. In fact, I would probably pick him to beat Deontay Wilder. I've said it many times before, and I'll keep on saying it. I believe he beats Wilder. But as I said, it's unlikely he's ever going to get that opportunity. He just needs to get that ranking, and I think a win over Luis Ortiz would certainly do it. A Dominic Brazil certainly would. A Charles Martin. I think Charles Martin's ranked top 10 by WBC, so why not? Why not indeed? If he wants to carry on in the UK and be put on by Matchroom again, Derek Chisora would be a good shot, or a Sam Sexton, or a Dave Allen, or a Nick Webb, or a Daniel Dubois, a Nathan Gorman. You know, all these fights are winnable fights for him, and very interesting fights if you don't really know who these guys are. But anyway, it'll be interesting to see what he does. For me, his career's not over, and I don't want people calling him a gatekeeper or a journeyman. He's nowhere near it. He's 26 years old. He's not even hit his prime yet. And look what, you know, he's already been in there with Joshua, Dillian Whyte, Andy Ruiz Jr., Hughie Fury, Carlos Takam. See, he's been in there with all these guys. Hey, maybe if Povetkin loses to Joshua, take on Povetkin. Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. But hopefully it's not going to be somebody that we've never heard of. Okay, I don't want to see a Razvan Kajani rematch, got to be honest. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens. So you drop your thoughts below. Who do you want to see Joseph Parker fight? As I said before, if it's in the UK, I would like it to be against Derek Chisora. It's a winnable fight. If he's going to be fighting in the States, a Bryant Jennings, if it is going to be top rank, because if he has to fight a top rank guy or be promoted by top rank, then Bryant Jennings would be the ideal opponent, I suppose. But if he's allowed to try and fight somebody else not top rank, then I think Luis Ortiz, Dominic Brazil, Charles Martin, Jarrell Miller, Adam Kownacki, there's quite a few good options there. Or go to Japan, or maybe bring that Japanese guy to New Zealand, or take on a Ustinov, or a whoever it may be. But it's going to be interesting anyway, and you drop your thoughts below, click that thumbs up, subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.